Now, the logistic and transport sector in Sri Lanka plays an important role in the growth of the economy. And coming here and joining us at Other Derana to speak about the sector as well as the National Logistic and Transport Excellence Award is two representatives from the Chartered Institute of Logistic and Transport, Chairperson Ms. Gaini Dialvis of the Chartered Institute of Logistic and Transport, as well as the Secretary of the CL, Dr. Lalit Edri Singh. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Catherine, for inviting us.
Ms. Gaini Dialvis, I would like to ask you, what exactly is the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport? Could you perhaps give us a background about what this is?
Okay. As you mentioned, CIT stands for Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. We are a chartered professional body based in the UK, and we are present in 34 countries, and we have about 33,000 members scattered around the 4 continents. And we in Sri Lanka set up our Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport way back in 1984. So we are celebrating 34 years this year, but our global body is celebrating 100 years next year. So we are a big organization with a lot of logistics and transport professionals. So we in Sri Lanka cater to a wide variety of sectors in our industry, that is logistics, transport, and aviation, maritime, supply chain, land transport, including rail and roads. And our institute consists of members from government sector, private sector, academia, and a few military officials as well. So it's quite a diverse group of people from different sectors. And Sri Lanka being aspiring to become a logistics hub, and what we do through our institute is to create that professional development and capability building.
Yeah? Yes. And Dr. Edri Singh, I would like to know a question, because I heard that there was a recent appointment of the new board has been introduced as of last week, which is quite a new step, a new path that the institute is currently taking. Could we talk about perhaps the future plans or the plans that are underway following the board appointment?
Yes, Catherine. Now, actually, I was appointed as the chairman of this awards committee a year ago, actually, and from that time onwards, we started the process of how to do it, because this is the first time it is happening in Sri Lanka. Although we have in different sectors various kinds of awards, logistics and transport, which has been a very, very pivotal area, but it has not been given any consideration by the industry or rather from the professionals to recognize those who are actually contributing to this industry. So we, for the last 5-6 years, this has been discussed, as I know, in the council level of CILT, and it has been various context, it has been discussed, and then finally various plans have been made. And last year when I was appointed, then I studied how we are going to have this at the next stage. Then we decided to announce the 2018 first ever logistics awards in the last international conference in 2017, and after announcing that, then we started the other process. So we will be having this first ever award ceremony in the 17th July in 2018.
Now, Ms. Dialvis, if I could ask you now, like Dr. Edri Singh has said, this is the first time that such an award ceremony is taking place. What would this mean to the industry as a whole?
I think it will be a new experience. Like Lalit mentioned, this recognition wasn't there, so I think we recognize that fact, and we wanted to not only recognize individuals but for companies also. So we have 3 categories, so I would allow Lalit to talk about it later on, but I just go a little bit back, take you a little bit back on the new council that we were appointed last week. So at the last AGM on the 28th, I was appointed as the chairperson of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport as the 21st chairperson, and our committee will be meeting actually today to plan for our future, and what in my my objective is with the council, to look at something that is really meaningful for the industry while contributing to the development and growth of our membership, because we have 1,000 odd members in our membership. So we need to really create the capability development, make them capable of contributing to the industry and country as a whole, while recognizing their contribution to the society as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mr. Diabas, as you mentioned, there's a lot of plans that are underway, as you mentioned, and with the new council being appointed. Now, one of the areas I believe that the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport is actually handling is the women in logistics and transport, which is like we mentioned earlier, there's a lot of, it's a male predominant sector. I mean, that is a perception of this industry. What can we say about women participation in this particular sector?
Yeah. If you look at Sri Lanka per se, our female labor force participation in this country is only 36%, which is way too low. And we all know females outnumber men in this country. In terms of the population, we are 52%. And why are these women not getting to the world of work is a challenge for the country, because we are short of labor as well, skilled labor. But if you look at our industry, especially transport and logistics, in our industry, female representation is only 3%. Now, CILT is a very progressive institute that way. We realized that some time ago, and globally, there was a thrust not only to engage more female, but also to engage more young professionals, right? Because we need that continuous pipeline of talent getting into the industry, not only women but young professionals, so that we can have a continuous pool to contribute to the industry. So what we did was, actually I founded the Women in Logistics and Transport Forum in 2013, and globally among the 34 countries in CILT, women in logistics and transport is available in 19 of those countries. So it's a huge big movement. And what we are trying to do is, since this industry is perceived as a very male-dominated industry, female-unfriendly industry, what we are trying to do is to create awareness on the career opportunities, so that they will, consider this profession as something that they can come and contribute. And not only that, we also wanted to understand the existing females who are already in the industry. We must retain them. And we need to sensitize the society to, and also the companies to make the environment more conducive for female. So I was part of the one of the national task force for NHRDC task force to look at how to increase female participation in public and private sector. So some of the recommendations that we have made from diverse group of women and men in that group was to look at various aspects, look at the policy aspect, look at the society sensitization, looking at incentives for the private sector, so that they will get incentivized to make the environment more conducive for female through crashers, flexi hours and various activities, plus capability development. So if you look at from a CILT point of view, we are there to look at the capability part as well. So what we are currently now doing in CILT is a very inclusive place. What we do is to engage all these stakeholders from the industry, from the academia, from the government, and these different the females as well as the young professionals to be part of us, so that all of us can contribute, because all of us have different skill sets. We can it can be very synergistic, and we bring a different skill set to the table. So we can contribute to this agenda and develop this country.
So, Mr. Alvesadzin, we can talk about the education, or
Sure.
it's very important to actually try to promote logistic, because it is something that we hear, something that we know about, but not really understand how quite important
Sure.
this sector is. So, Dr. Idris Singh, could we talk about how important logistic and transport per se is in Sri Lanka and in globally as well, because we're seeing a big shift, we're seeing a difference in trends. Can we talk how important this is?
Well, it's something like this, there are certain things that when they are too too much important, then people really forget it. No, logistics is something like that, and it's very recently people started, or rather in Sri Lanka especially, people started having this kind of professional bodies and professional training, professional education kind of a thing about logistics very recently, and I think it's not more than 12 years like. So actually what happens is, our Sri Lanka has a vision to be the, as Gayani mentioned, to be the logistics hub in this region. Now, without having proper logistics recognition, proper logistics competencies in the country, how are we going to do that? It's not only the kind of developing the infrastructure and let things happen. We need the soft skills in the people to handle these things. So I think especially our efforts is mainly concentrating on these areas, how we are going to have the Sri Lanka's vision, a material thing in the future. If you really take the statistics part of it, there is a indicator called LPI, Logistics Performance Indicator, which gives a perception about every country's the logistics performance. And in 2010, the Sri Lanka, out of 155 countries, we were at 137 position. You can see, we are going for these big things like, becoming the logistics hub, but out of 155, we were 137. But luckily, there was a push towards, developing this area and improving people's qualities and all that. Then in 2012, we came up to the 81st position out of 155 countries. In 2014, we again went back to 89th position. And very unfortunately, in 2016, we are not in the list out of 160 countries. So this is the reality. So we need to be focused on this, and if we really want to be the logistics hub in the region, we should be having other developments happening towards this area. We do not have a ministry for logistics. First of all, we have for everything, but we do not have. So our professionals have been saying this for a long time. So this is the time that we should do that. But rather than complaining about these things, the CILT, we wish that how should we approach these areas, and wherever the area which we can do something. So we are all are professionals, and we do a honorary job basically. We are volunteers. So we come together and we try to develop these areas. Of course, we get the support from various industry people. We have our corporate members. We have educational institutes supporting us. So that way we are trying to put everything together and make the Sri Lanka's vision one day true as far as the logistics and transport are concerned.
And Dr. Adri Singh, what you mentioned is one way to promote is actually have an award or honor those in the logistics sector, as particularly in the National Logistic and Transport Excellence Award, which is taking place in a couple of months.
Yeah.
How are the preparations for that?
Well, it's a long process, as I was mentioning earlier. So the present status is that we have commenced accepting the applications. There are two types of awards that we are going to offer for the first time. One is the individual awards. We call it the Logistics Pinnacle Award. That is given once in a lifetime, the best, or rather the highest contributor to the logistics and transport industry. So we have called application for that, and we are getting nomination by now. And the other part is we want to recognize the organizations who have contributed a lot to make the present situation, where we are actually, although the conceptual wise there were little issues about the indicators, we know that we have developed this country as a maritime hub for a long time, and it's contributing to the economy in a very big way. So we want to recognize those organizations about the contribution that they have made so far. Since it's the first time, it's a very, very difficult task, because we have to first we have to call for applications, and then we'll have to go through one by one, and we should not have an unfair situation. So we have a very eminent panel decided who will be deciding on these selections, and that is including the academia professionals, and within the industry and out of the industry, and various kind of people. And so presently we are getting the nominations, and the industry awards will be, we thought of having three kinds, that is three levels. One is the large category, medium category, and small category, because even the small organizations has contributed a lot in coming to this the final realization of what we want. So therefore we are recognizing them at three levels, and that also we have a excellence award for each category and a runner up. So there will be 2 in each level, so there will be 6 awards there, and the pinnacle award. So at the moment we are getting the nominations for this, and hopefully we will be having the closing dates somewhere in 31st of May. We have time, but we have advised, or rather conveyed the message that it is a long process. It's not just filling a form and sending back. We will be going into details, not we actually, the panel, judging panel will be going into details, and they will visit these institutes, and they will really see that the declarations are in commensurate with what's actual situation. So therefore it's a big process, but we are helping, we want to help these institute who are going to nominate their organizations, because we will be having couple of workshops to train them how to submit these applications, because this is the first time. Therefore we need to help the industry how to fill these forms, and what are the areas that they have to highlight. All this will be in the next couple of months we will be doing before we come to the deadlines.
So Catherine, if I may add one point there. So normally annually we have our flagship event, that is the CIT International Conference. This year we have scheduled it on the 17th of July. So on the same day in the night we have this award ceremony. So we've coupled both big events on that day, and we want that to be a grand event. And anybody who's interested can get into our CIT www.ciltsl.com website, or they can call us. All that information is available in our website, and we can post the documentation to them if they are interested. So it's just that floor is open for everybody now. Yeah, so we are expecting a big nomination list coming into us, and it will be exciting, I think. Yeah.
So I believe now the logistics sector as well as the transport industry is in for a treat in a couple of months. So we will bring you more information on this as well after this short commercial break. Welcome back. Now we are talking about the National Logistic and Transport Excellence Award 2018, which is going to be held on the 17th of July, and this is organized by the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport. And joining me once again for our viewers is the chairperson of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, Ms. Gani Dialvis, as well as the Secretary of the Institute, Dr. Lalit Edrisinghe. Yes, ma'am. So continuing with what we were speaking about, we're talking about the industry as a whole. And what is the Chartered Institute currently doing in terms of trying to improve capabilities in the industry?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's actually our primary objective, if you really look at. I mean, apart from attracting members for the institute, the number 2 priority, I would say, is to, how do we really develop the capability and retain the membership, continuous professional development right throughout their career, right, in their workplace. So what we do is we have CILT run programs, right? So we follow a model where we run our programs that are CILT international programs run in Sri Lanka through education providers. So those education providers are running those programs. So that is one model where we have certificate, advanced certificate and diploma and advanced diploma. So there is a progression, one who can start off with a certificate and then progress towards a higher diploma and then you can move on. Then we also do our own CILT have also started last year conducting these programs. So in time to come our role would be developing curriculum and then handing it over to education providers. So we would be developing the curriculum to suit the industry and what's happening around us, the new developments, and then we will be making it relevant for the development of the industry. So that is number one. The number two activity, another type of activity that we do is we conduct programs depending on the industry specific areas. Now quarterly we do programs for the aviation industry. We bring in a specialist from the industry to talk about something of importance to the industry. And then we will bring in from maritime industry, land transport, and the speaker will talk about the specific area, and then we have a panel discussion and the members can ask questions and exchange of ideas happen. So through that, especially the young professionals who are getting into the industry will get an exposure on the new developments, the practical issues that are happening in the industry, all of that they will get exposed. And also of course the most important thing in the industry is the networking opportunities. I mean that will enable them to get internship opportunities, job opportunities, connecting with the senior people of the industry, because we have quite a big group of senior professionals in the industry as our members, and that is that. Then the flagship event that I spoke to you about earlier is the CILT annual international conference, which is a well sought out conference, and that's one of the biggest conference which attracts about 300 participants from across the industry. And this year, since we are coupling it with our awards, it's going to be a bigger participation that we expect. And there also we actually identify a topic of interest. We have a thematic conference where we bring in experts from the industry, not only locally, from international speakers also. So last year at the conference we spoke about disruptions happening in the industry. We spoke about the geopolitical issues, and we spoke about the technological disruptions like the blockchain technology, the 3D printing, the drone technology, the new things that are happening, how that can have an impact on the industry and how we should gear ourselves to face that future that we are envisaging in the future. So those are some of the things that we do. So this is quite a packed event calendar we have in CILT, and those who are actually in the industry, if you look at our membership profile, our members can come from the industry through our courses if they qualify them through our programs like diploma, advanced diploma and the whole education program, and they can qualify themselves and become members. And also those who are holding senior positions in the industry can come as members. So our membership profile is, we have the lowest level is the student category, where all the members, young students who are already studying the logistics and transport subjects are enrolled during their university careers, and then they get upgrade themselves to MILT, that is member of CILT. And when you are senior and holding very senior roles in the industry or in the government or in the academia, with those exposure you can upgrade yourself to a chartered member. And then if you are a very eminent person with so many years of experience plus your contribution to the institute and to the industry, you become a fellow. So you can use it as a post nominal. You can call yourself a CMILT if you are a chartered member, fellow FCILT if you are a member MILT. So that is something recognized world over. So CILT being present in 34 countries, and we have a huge membership, 34,000 members scattered around 4 continents now. And when you have that credentials, you are being recognized any part of the world. So our education program is that much recognized, and what we are trying to do is how do we get more into this profession by getting themselves qualified and manage that. One thing I forgot to mention is this, we not only run our own programs, we accredit programs that are run by universities. So, we have another stream where we accredit university programs where they have transport and logistics and supply chain subjects. So, through that we have a big group of students and senior young professionals and seniors who are getting into the industry.
Now, you mentioned a lot of subjects, a lot of elements involved in
Yes.
this particular industrial sector. Has there been a growing interest?
I would say the fact that more and more universities are now coming into this area, and the fact that some universities are having now specifically supply chain degree programs shows that there must be a demand in the marketplace, otherwise nobody would do it, right? And I myself personally have done some research. There are 9 programs in postgraduate level where you either have a MSc or an MBA in logistics and supply chain, or it has specialization in supply chain. So that means even at a higher level, not only at the undergraduate level, at a higher level there is interest. So those who are the practitioners who are in the industry now, they are very experienced, but they need some theoretical exposure and continuous professional development. So that's when you have postgraduate program, it will actually complement their experience plus the knowledge, the new knowledge, and CRT coming and giving continuous professional education will really complement the whole thing, and finally at the end of the day the industry will benefit. And Lalit spoke about the LPI index. I mean, one of the key areas there we have not scored well is the capability part of it, quality of service. That is all to do with the professionalism in the industry. So what we are trying to do is how do we build that capability, develop professionalism so that world over people will start to recognize Sri Lankan capability and professionalism.
And Dr. Edris Singh, now as Ms. Diavis mentioned earlier, last year you all had a forum, there was a theme on innovation and disruption in the supply chain industry. Where do you think Sri Lanka is currently placed? Are we competitive enough? Are we going there? Do we still have a long way to go?
Well, yes, I mean we are geographically located in a very, very strategic position, and we are very close to the main east-west sea route, and the world supply chain is more than 90% or rather 95% is sea cargo movements. So that obviously we are in a very, very strategic position geographically, and over the years with the development of the technology and various other economic reasons, and we have come to a certain very prominent place, that is for sure. And with the coming up these OBOR initiatives by China, definitely we are in a very, very prominent place. So what we really need is to get more people from the school level coming to this industry and following these full-time degree programs in this area, and then becoming professionals in the area with qualification, academic qualification, and then going ahead with the master's level and up to the PhD level. And this is what we really need. And at the same time, the institutes also, they should realize the importance of having qualified people in doing these activities. That is what CILT is getting involved with various the different kind of stakeholders,
Sectors.
right? And we try to attract them into this area and try to help in what the really the logistics industry is required to do that. So therefore, to answer your question, yes, we are in a prominent place, but we think by adding more skills into the sector, we can move very, very much in a better place, because geographically what Sri Lanka has is, I think there are still areas that we can get maximum benefit out of it and then improve more. Therefore, this kind of awards, why we are really planning into that area is that one critic of this particular award ceremony is that a lot of people ask why it's only a very common award. You say excellence, but we have different sectors, the
Aviation.
maritime, aviation, road transport, rail transport, supply chain. So, why you are not categorizing these awards into different sectors? But to tell the fact, I mean, when we study about this particular concept, we actually came out of almost 22 categories, which we really do not want to rush in the first time award ceremony. We want this to develop in a natural growth, and rather than just putting everything together, I mean everything in the first instance, we want the industry to realize what it is and then gradually build up to that level. So, definitely we will be going ahead with various other categories after this concept is very much
Embedded
embedded in our system. And also add something to what Gayani was telling about this education. Now, Sri Lanka is basically, our education system has been always very, I must say, a kind of traditional sort of mindset our parents are having. When you have a sector like logistics, supply chain, there is a little fear of the parents, whether their children will get employment after that and all that. But over the last 15 years, I think certain private universities as well as government universities have come into this area, and they have started various degree programs, master's programs in this area. So therefore, the society has gotten to realize that the importance and the potential of this particular segment.
Thank you, Dr. Idris Singh. So, speaking more on the logistic as well as the transport sector in the country, we will join you back after this commercial break. Welcome back. Now, Ms. Dialvis, you were talking about the National Excellence Awards as well as the importance of this, and you mentioned that there will be a forum as well. Will there be a particular theme that this forum will be having?
So this year we are in the process of, because this council was just appointed, and in fact we are meeting this month, and at the council meeting we'll be deciding the theme, and then we will be informing the membership very shortly. So I'm sure it is the committee who's in charge of that international conference will definitely be talking about something that is the new developments of in logistics and transport sector, because that's what we need to educate, and the best practices and the international exposure by bringing in international speakers to the country, like what we have been doing in the past. So it will be some topical thing which will be of interest to the membership. So we will be very shortly announcing the theme of the conference.
Now, Ms. Dialvis, so what are the new developments that maybe you have identified as a chartered institute that is taking place? If you could have
so I will actually cover what we do as part of young professionals, women in logistics and CILT, because all of us are under one umbrella, because CILT is the main body, and under that you have these two. So if you really look at the main objective of CILT is to promote professionalism in the industry. In fact, our objective as articulated by our chartered body in the UK says we are promoting the science and art of logistics and transport, and we want to be the most preferred professional body, preferred choice as a professional body for those who are engaged in supply chain logistics and transport. So we want to be the premier professional body in this sector. So already we have got a lot of a big membership base from all sectors. So whatever we do, we are trying to promote professionalism. If you really look at our industry, it's highly fragmented. Up until late as 2006, we haven't had degree programs in this country. as a professional qualification, although CRT existed, but as a degree program we didn't have. So if you really look at the industry now, slowly it's picking up. And Sri Lanka also now aspiring to become a logistics hub and various new initiatives, and we are going to be one of the pearls in the string of pearls in the OBOR. So with all that, the investment coming into the country, we need to be also relevant to the industry and what we need to do. So what we are trying to do is, whatever we do, we keep all those developments in mind. So from the CRT, our main objective is to upgrade our membership and develop them through continuous professional development programs. So like what I mentioned to you, we have our international conference, we have our continuous professional development, sector specific programs, we have our various panel discussions, we have our awards now that we have started, seminars, so various programs, and also policy advocacy, because we also, some of our senior members are sitting in various government committees, task forces, and to give thought leadership to those. So that way we are getting engaged into the policy making, and because we are kind of conduit between the government and the industry and academia, so we are connecting all those stakeholders within our membership. So that is another thing that we do.
You mentioned a lot of collaboration and a lot of teamwork and effort is being done to actually have a proper structure in order to develop this sector that is taking place. So I'm sure it's probably going to be a bit challenging for the judge panel actually to select a winner for the different categories. Can we talk a bit about
this is exactly why I was mentioning earlier, when a lot of criticisms are on the way, why you are giving a common excellence award, why not categorizing it into a it will be a very, very difficult and sometimes impossible task for a panel of judges in the first one. We need to gradually develop it, because this is the first time, and this industry is a very vast industry, and categorizing and then going into deep into categories will be a real challenge, and sometimes the time will not be enough to do the entire judging for the first time, maybe later. So that's why I wanted to have it in the first place, a common one, where we will be taking into consideration all aspects of logistics and transport sector, and then one by one going into other different categories and go into more into details and finding the most best contributor.
I think we in CRT want to think big, start small, move fast. That's what our motto, I suppose.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Alvison. Thank you, Dr. Idris Singh, for joining us and speaking about this.
Thank you for inviting.
Yes, and we would like to remind our viewers that the National Logistic and Transport Excellence Awards 2018, organized by the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, will be held on the 17th of July, and applications are open. You can actually apply online, as well as there will be more information on this on the website, and we welcome all of you who are interested to actually take part for this award ceremony, which is being held for the first time. So thank you very much once again, and we wish our viewers a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Derana 24/7.